Welcome to this Rodrozen Design and Build special. Today, we're taking photos. We thought we'd show you a bit of a behind the scenes of the process of what it takes to capture the beautiful photos that we capture that you see of our finished projects. We're here in Homer Street today at a beautiful condo apartment we've just finished renovating. We're going to grab some photos. Thought we'd talk a little bit about the process that goes on to create these beautiful photos that you see. So when it comes to preparing the location for the shoot, one of the things we do is we give the place a clean. And that includes everything from the windows, through the surfaces, but we also remove anything that, normal daily stuff that we normally see. We remove that out of the way so that we get these nice clean shots. These also include things like area rugs, toilet paper, anything that's unsightly that we don't like the look of. Basically, we remove that for the photo shoot and then we bring it back afterwards. Some of the other preparation things we do, if there's tags on any products, what we do is we either remove them, or in this case, we can just turn them around. And then there's no tags showing. Looking good. So when it comes to lighting, we try and plan our shoots so that they take place during a nice day. We're here in autumn, so typically in the seasons of autumn and winter, the sun's quite low down in the sky throughout the day, so today we've got a lot of harsh light coming in. There's not a huge amount that we can do with that. We'll get into filters and how we can change that. We do want to have a nice sunny day outside ideally. Grey overcast days don't work so well, so it's good that we've got some sun today. We've planned it with the weather, which is really good. When it comes to preparing each individual room, we do adjust the lighting with the artificial lights accordingly. Derek, our interior designer, he designs all of our lighting in each of the homes so that at about 70%, that's the right amount, but it has the ability to go a little bit higher. So accordingly, we do experiment with the lighting a little bit, and you'll see in some of our photos, we put certain different lighting levels to get different effects. But generally speaking, we aim for about that 70%, which is where the system is designed to be at its most optimal. But if we need to, we can always increase the amount of lighting if we need to for the photography as well. Another thing that's used quite often is shooting at dusk or at night time. Obviously at dusk you get a lot more of the blues and the oranges come out, and certainly they can be very beautiful photos. You might have seen some of our previous photos have that. Today for this project we're not so much focusing on that. We just want to capture it while we've got this nice autumn light coming through. When it comes to the photography that we do, here we're focusing on coverage, getting as many shots as we can. Later on, I'll sit down with Derek, our interior designer, and we'll make a selection of photos based on the angles that he likes. So it's really important that I get as much coverage here with the photos for him. So when it comes to taking the photos, we obviously use a tripod. The height that we select is roughly around about that hip height for where the camera is actually positioned vertically. And obviously it's really important that we make sure that our tripod head is nice and level. We also use the on-screen leveling and vertical adjustment tools to make sure that our shots are nice and balanced as well. We want to try and keep our photos as level as possible. So one of the things you'll notice is that for most of the photography we use quite a wide angle lens. This one in this case is a 7.5mm Samyang lens. This has a maximum aperture of 3.5, and generally speaking we set it a little bit back from there at around about that 5 to 8 range depending on the photo. Obviously the wider the aperture, the more that's we've got that shallower depth of field, which we don't want to achieve so much when we're doing interior design photography. We want to try and get as much as we can in focus, so that's why we step the aperture down. The reason why we go with the wide angle lens is we just want to get that maximum coverage as possible. It makes spaces look larger in effect. Aside from the wide angle lens, sometimes I use a zoom lens or a prime lens to get a few more detailed photos. And these detailed photos will be often focused on a particular object or a a focal point that we want to highlight. It might be some lighting, it might be some interior design detail and things like that. So one of the things that we definitely do here is we use bracketing with our photography. So we take 3 photos, one at the exposure point that I want, one stop down, and then one stop above that intermediate exposure point. And so with the bracketing, you can see here under settings that we use three photos at one stop between the photos. You can see down here. So we use the bracketing in order to be able to capture the details in the dark shadows as well as the details in the light areas. And this room here is a really good example of that, because the room is a little bit darker just because of the natural colors in here. But outside we've got a really harsh light day outside. And so I want to be able to capture the information outside. I also want to be able to see the room, which is the focus here. So using the bracketing of having one photo at the exposure level that I want, and then one stop below and one stop above. Generally speaking, I also, my middle, the photo that I want exposed to, the middle photo, I generally speaking take that up about 1 to 1.5 stops above what the camera believes the exposure should be as well. And then that way I know I've got an overall, a more brighter image to be able to work with in the edit as well. So there are a lot of reflective surfaces naturally in any home, whether it's mirrors, glass, countertops. Reflections, annoyingly, can show anything from just lighting bouncing around, but it can also show the camera, or in this case me, taking the photo. So it's really important to try and reduce those reflections where we can as well. In this example here, we've got like these glass windows, and we've got a lot of light that's reflecting off them. In order to combat reflecting surfaces, either you edit the reflective surfaces in post, which is something that we naturally end up doing anyway. One way of doing that is using a CPL, a circular polarizing filter. With the type of lens that we're using, because it has quite a large bulge to the exterior lens, we can't actually fit filters to this particular wide-angle lens, but there are certainly some wide-angle lenses out there that you can fit filters to, and you want to attach a polarizing filter to the exterior of them, and then obviously to be able to rotate that to remove the reflections as best you can, just to reduce the amount of time that you spend in editing of the photos. So when it comes to the different angles that we select, let's say we've got this living room area here. Generally speaking, I will do a series of shots as much as I can around the center, the focal point of the area, in which case it's the sofa. In the kitchen, it will be the kitchen island. The dining room will be the dining table. And I will, generally speaking, get shots either at a 45-degree angle, like this angle here is to the sofa, and then straight on to the area of focus. This area here as a straight-on shot looking like this. I'll bring the camera around here, and then again, I'll get a shot from this angle. The other thing I'll do is I'll also bring the camera a little bit further back and a little bit further forward of the center focal point. So again, I've got a good amount of coverage. So there we go, captured all the photos that we need to capture. Hope you've enjoyed seeing this behind the scenes of how we go about capturing our photos, and hopefully you've learned something. For now, it's time to head back to the office and let's start the editing process. Stay tuned for another video to come on that.